Hey guys, so let's take a look at the basic difference between PSG and TG, PS grammar and TG grammar. So PS grammar rewrites a symbol as a string, right? So what happens is, first you draw a phrase marker from the immediate constituents from the symbols you derive a string. It is you arrive at a PS string. That is what happens in PS grammar, if you remember. In the end, you get a string at the end of PS grammar. So it rewrites the symbols that you get from a phrase marker into a string, and it shows how the constituents of the sentence are arranged. So by looking at PS grammar, you will be able to identify how the constituents within a sentence are arranged. For example, a noun phrase will consist of a determiner and noun. So the determiner would come first and then the noun. Now the verb phrase may consist of the verb, or it may be preceded by a tense, then comes the verb, then comes a complement, right? Or it can be a noun phrase too. So it shows how constituents of a sentence are arranged. Then another characteristic feature of PSG is that it represents strings underlying sentences. So under each sentence, what is the string that underlies the sentences? You will be able to arrive at a terminal string that underlies the sentences using PSG. So it represents the string that underlies or that acts as a basic for sentences or base for the sentences. Then it makes use of PS rules exclusively. It makes use of phrase structure rules exclusively, and phrase structure rules generate the surface structure directly, and by applying the phrase structure rules you will be able to reach at the surface structure. Now PS rules are always context free, which is that it is not based on the context. PS rules are not applied to sentence. It is irrespective of whether it is interrogative or imperative, you apply PS rules. When it comes to TG grammar transforms one string to another string, and TG grammar is used to explain how sentences of a language are related to one another. That is, how an assertive sentence is related to an interrogative sentence, as we just saw, or how an active voice is intricately related to a passive voice, etc. So TG grammar explain how sentences of a language are related. Then TG grammar transforms one string of the constituents into another. So that is the ability of TG grammar. It transforms one string to another. Then it makes use of both PS rules and T rules. It does not just make use of T rules as such. It's not exclusive to just T rules. It does not exclusively apply T rules. Instead, it applies both PS rules and T rules. Now, PS rules generate the deep structure, which is converted to the surface structure using T rules. Now, T rules are context sensitive, which means that if it is a negative sentence, T rules might change. If it is a passivization, T rules might change. If it is a question, T rules might change. So, T rules are context sensitive. Now, looking at it together, once again, PSG rewrites symbols as a string, that is, from a phrase marker, you rewrite the symbols as a string, as a terminal string. Whereas TG grammar, transformational generative grammar, changes a string into another string. Now, phrase structure grammar shows how constituents of a sentence are arranged together or are arranged in a sentence, whereas TG grammar explains how sentences of a language are related. So, TG grammar explains how certain sentences of a language are related. Now, PSG represents strings underlying the sentence. So, PSG represents the strings which underlie a basic sentence, and TG grammar transforms one string, the constituents of one string to another. That is, it has the ability to transform one string to another. So, if it was an assertive sentence, it has the ability to transform it into an interrogative sentence. It was a positive sentence, it has the ability to transform it into a negative sentence. But PSG just represents the string that underlies the sentence. That is, it just shows the deep structure of a sentence. Now, PS grammar makes use of just PS rules exclusively. It does not make use of any other rules, but TG grammar makes use of both PS rules as well as TG rules. PS rules is known as PS component, and the application of T rules is known by the name transformational component. So, it makes use of TG grammar makes use of both PS rules as well as T rules. Now, PS grammar generates surface structure directly. That is from the that is how it is done. So, though I said that it has a deep structure, pardon me, PS grammar generates the surface structure directly. It does not show inter-sentence relationship, mind you. Remember, they does not show inter-sentence relationship. So, it generates the surface structure directly, whereas PS rules generate the deep structure in TG grammar, and by the T rules generate the surface structure. So, by applying the PS rules, we arrive at a deep structure, and to that deep structure, when we apply T rules, we arrive at the surface structure. Please move back to some of the earlier lectures that I have posted. I have demonstrated it clearly on our first lecture on TG grammar on how the transformation takes place. That is, to PS component you apply PS rules, then you get an output, to it you apply T rules. So, when you apply PS rules, you get a deep structure. When you apply T rules, you get the surface structure. That is, it's again transformed into another surface structure. That is what we are talking about. So, PS rules generate DS, that is deep structure, which is converted into surface structure by T rules. Now, PS rules are context free, whereas T rules are context sensitive. So, PS rules are context free. That is, it is not based on whether the sentence is positive or whether the sentence is negative. You just arrive at a surface structure irrespective of what the sentence stands for, whereas T rules is context sensitive. That is, whenever you are applying T rules, you need to make sure that whether you are applying passivization, whether it is a negation, or whether it is a interrogative transformation. So, T rules are context sensitive, whereas PS rules are context free. So, I hope that the difference between PSG and TG was clear. Thank you for listening.